Hello, welcome to Fireblaze AI School. In this video, we'll be exploring how to answer Python's most frequently asked questions for a data analysis interview. Alright, so without wasting any time, let's jump right into the topic. On your screen, let's see the first question, which is what are the main Python libraries used for data analysis? Okay. So there are four main libraries that are used for data analysis. First is NumPy, which is short for numerical Python. Another is Pandas, which is a wordplay on Python data analysis. Then there's Matplotlib, which is used for creating visualizations, and Seaborn, which is also again used for creating advanced visualizations. NumPy is used for mathematical computing, and Pandas is used for data manipulation and data cleaning. Alright, so this is how you answer this question. Moving on, how is a data frame different from a NumPy array? Alright, so first of all, data frame is a data structure that comes from Pandas, whereas array comes from NumPy. The difference between the data frame and NumPy is a one-dimensional, or a NumPy can be multi-dimensional array, whereas data frame can only be a two-dimensional labeled data structure. Alright, data frame is used in Pandas for data for creating tables, whereas arrays can be used for performing linear algebra and linear algebra related calculations. Alright, so this is how you answer this question. Now moving on to the next question, how do you handle missing data in Pandas? Alright, so missing data, that means null values, in Pandas can be handled in several ways, but before handling them we need to identify them. So to identify them we have two different methods. We have .isNull method and .isAny method that can be used for identifying if we have any null values or missing values in our dataset. Once we have identified them, in order to handle them we can either drop them or we can impute them with several values. So if we want to drop them, we need to use drop_any method, which is used for dropping all the null values, and to handle them or to replace them with some kind of imputation we use fill_any value. Now this fill_any is used for replacing, and the null values can be replaced with several values. Either they can be replaced with their statistical inferences, or they can be replaced with their default values, or they can be interpolated, or a machine learning model can be used to predict what the null values would be. Alright, so this is how we can handle the missing data in Pandas. So this is how we can answer this question. Now moving on to the next question, how can you group data in Pandas? So in order for us to group data in Pandas, we have a function or a method called as .groupBy method. This groupBy method groups your table on the basis of one column, and whatever unique values that column holds, the data is grouped by according to that that values. And in order for us to get these groups, we have a function called as .getGroups, which will retrieve all the groups that have been created using groupBy function. Alright, so this is how we answer this question. Moving on to the next question, what is the difference between lock and ilock? Okay, so lock and ilock, these are the two methods that are used to retrieve any values in our data set. So there's one basic difference between lock and ilock is whenever you want to retrieve any data from a table using their labels, using the column and row labels, then we use lock method. And whenever we want to retrieve them using their indices, then we use ilock method. Ilock is short for index location. So to give you an example, if I have a column which is named salary and a row which is named as 5, so what we can do is retrieve the fifth row and the salary column, and we will get the value of the data point that has been present over there. Whereas if the salary is let's consider it's the 10th column in our data set, so what we can do is we can call it by its number, that is 5, 10, and for that we would use ilock function. So that's the basic difference between lock and ilock. Now moving on to the next question, How do you merge two data frames in pandas? Alright. So in order to merge two data frames in pandas, we have a function called as dot merge. So this dot merge function is used whenever I have two tables with a common column having certain common rows, on the basis of which we can merge these two data frames. Now there are four types of these merges. There's inner merge, full outer merge, there's left merge and right merge. So these are the four ways how we can merge the two data frames in pandas. Alright. Moving on to the next question. What is the difference between apply and map in pandas? Alright. So map is a function which is used whenever we want to map every value in an iterator using some kind of function. For example, if I want to convert every value in a list into an integer, I will use map function. Similarly, in a data frame or in a series, whenever I want to map every element in that series using same function, I will use this apply method. For example, if I want to convert every value in a series into a lowercase value, I will use apply function that will apply this lowercase function to every element in that series or in a data frame, resulting in the output that I want to create. So this is the difference between apply and map function in pandas. Now moving on to the next question. How do you read and write data in Python using pandas? Alright, so reading the data in pandas depends on which file are you reading the data from. For example, if you are reading the data from an Excel file, you would use .read_Excel method. If you are reading it from a CSV file, you would use .read_CSV method. Similarly, if it's a JSON file, you can use read_JSON method, which is used for reading the file from any data file that is present in our system. Similarly, if you want to write the data, we have a method called as toExcel or to_CSV or to_JSON that will convert or that will write this file into the respective format and then store it into your system locally. So this is how you answer this question. Now moving on to the next question. How do you remove duplicates from a data frame? Alright. So in order for us to remove the duplicates from a data frame, first thing is to identify these duplicates. Now what function do we use for this is .duplicate_d. D stands for data, so basically it's short for duplicate data. So whenever we use this .duplicate_d function after a data frame, we get the list of all the duplicate values that are present in our data set. Now if we want to remove these duplicates from the data set, we have a function called as drop_duplicates. So whenever we use drop_duplicates, we remove all the duplicates present in the data automatically. So this is how we use pandas to remove the duplicates from the data frame. Alright, so let's move to the last question in this video, which is how can you find outliers in your data set? Again, finding outliers in the data set, we can find this by using several methods. So first of all, if you want to find these outliers visually, we can draw the box plots simply using a Seaborn or a Matplotlib library. If we are using Seaborn, we can just write sns.boxplot and then in the bracket we can write the name of the data frame, and all the outliers will be plotted in your data set, and we can easily visually identify the outliers in our data set. But if we want to find these outliers using a mathematical method, because if we want to perform any kind of mathematical action, we cannot perform that just by visually. We would have to use several methods such as IQR method or a z-score method or more such methods that are used for identifying the outliers. But to give you an example of IQR method, what we'll do is we'll calculate the IQR, which is nothing but the difference between the 75th and the 25th percentile in a data set, and then whatever points lie above 1.5 times IQR from the 75th percentile or lie below 1.5 times IQR distance from the first or 25th percentile will be termed as outliers. We'll identify these outliers and then we can perform the cleaning as we want. We can either replace them with some kind of inference, or we can directly drop these values from our data set. So this is how we answer these questions. Alright, so these were the 10 most frequently asked Python interview questions. I hope you got to learn something new from this video, and I thank you all for joining this video. If you like this video, do like, share and subscribe this video, and do follow Fireblaze School for more such content. I hope to see you in some other video sometime. Alright, but until then, thank you.